This morning, you shared your ideas about what makes Palo Alto special and what contributes to the exceptional quality of life we enjoy here. Then, in the first breakout session, you had a chance to discuss some of the transportation choices that will be key to maintaining that quality of life and preserving neighborhood character. During this session, we want to explore ways that Palo Alto can continue to prosper and enjoy the benefits that come with being a global economic leader, while managing the potentially negative side effects of a robust local economy. A big part of what makes Palo Alto special is its neighborhoods, its street trees, its parks, its access to open space. It's important to be clear from the outset that the comp plan update will not include any changes to the R1 designation that covers existing single-family neighborhoods, or any changes to existing city or regional open space areas. At the same time, it's also important to know that pulling up the drawbridge is not an option. State fair housing laws and recent court cases have made it clear that prohibiting or severely restricting housing growth is not legal. Livable neighborhoods are important to Palo Altans, and the first of 7 major themes in the current comp plan is building community in neighborhoods. The comp plan acknowledges that schools, libraries, parks, public facilities, and small businesses are an essential part of neighborhood life and help build the bridge between neighborhood and community. Additionally, the vision statement of the land use and community design element foresees that all Palo Alto neighborhoods will have public gathering spaces, essential services, and pedestrian amenities to encourage less reliance on the automobile. The comp plan implements these ideals through a series of policies and programs about residential neighborhoods, centers, and employment districts, considering the balance of uses, design, and connectivity within and between these different areas. The current comp plan gives us a strong policy foundation, but there are additional approaches to guiding growth and controlling its negative impacts that could be considered as well. 3 possible approaches to growth management are a cap on overall growth, like Palo Alto has in place today, metering the pace of growth, like Council is currently considering, or allowing future growth only if it can offset its adverse impacts. Before we debate the pros and cons of each, though, let's take a look back and a look forward to understand the context of growth in Palo Alto. From 1980 to 1990, Palo Alto's population growth rate was relatively low, around 1% for the decade. Then during the decade from 1990 to 2000, Palo Alto's population grew by a little less than 5%, one of the lowest rates of population growth for communities in Santa Clara County during the same time frame. Conversely, between 2000 and 2013, Palo Alto was one of the fastest growing cities in the county, with an overall 13% increase in population. The increased growth rate was particularly noticeable after the slow and steady growth rates of previous decades, but it was also a predictable response to the much more dramatic job growth in Palo Alto and other surrounding South Bay communities. Looking forward 15 years, job growth is projected to continue to outpace housing growth. Today, there are over 95,000 jobs in Palo Alto, and ABAG projects that under current trends, that number will increase by 17% to almost 111,000 jobs in Palo Alto by 2030. That means that Palo Alto will continue to have about 3 jobs for every employed resident. And with jobs and housing out of balance like this, the city has to import most of its workers, because with limited housing available in Palo Alto, many people who work here either can't find housing here or can't afford it. In turn, this imbalance translates to long commutes for workers, worsening traffic congestion on our roadways, and parking headaches. In recent years, the city has attempted to address the housing side of its jobs housing imbalance by encouraging mixed use and high-density residential development close to transit. Additionally, job growth has been regulated through caps on non-residential square footage in specific areas of the city. But some community members feel that a cap on space isn't targeting the right metric, particularly given the way 21st century workspaces are evolving. In the current boom, we've seen that limiting development in a high-demand market can have negative unintended consequences. Market forces pressure conversion of non-residential uses to office space that commands higher rents. And as a result, commercial rents are pushed so high that small local businesses are priced out. To address the sustained growth pressures we are now experiencing, the City Council is considering a range of new initiatives, including an annual limit on development of new office and R&D space, additional transportation demand management programs, retail preservation strategies, and new parking structures. Other ideas that have also been floated include a no net new cars idea and encouraging mixed use projects that are not predominantly office. Today, we'd like to get your feedback on these ideas and your input on growth management strategies to include in the comp plan. How can Palo Alto improve its jobs housing imbalance? Again, three possible approaches to growth management are cap on overall growth, metering the pace of growth, or allowing future growth only if it can offset its impacts. What are the pros and cons of each of these approaches, and which one do you think is best suited for Palo Alto? What are the negative impacts of growth that concern you most? If the comp plan and other city initiatives could address those impacts, would it change how you feel about growth? Market forces that drive what kinds of businesses open and close in Palo Alto are largely beyond the city's control. Our interim retail preservation ordinance will stop conversions of ground floor retail into office space, but what would a longer-term solution to retail preservation in Palo Alto look like? We look forward to hearing your ideas about how we can ensure that job growth and economic vitality don't overwhelm the qualities of Palo Alto that we treasure.